Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wine Wisdom. Today we have the backdrop of our vineyards here, and the topic I wish to discuss is the balance of sweetness and acidity and why that is a core component in terms of the pleasure that you get from wine. So sweet versus dry. Dry is really a term that's used to indicate there is 0% or virtually no residual sugar in a wine. Now that is often viewed in the world of wine as dry equals good, sweet equals bad. But I think we need to debunk that myth. I don't necessarily think that dry is good or sweet is bad. Nor do I think that being in the middle is either a good or bad thing either. It's really just a measure by which we can help talk about wines to find that balance on your palate that is most interesting. Wine is alcohol, tannin, sugar, and acidity. We don't have the time here to talk about all four of those elements and how they all interrelate. It gets very complex. But for today's purposes, we're talking about the balance of acidity and sugar. And what I have before me are some of the typical representations of these things. Here we have table sugar, which is sucrose, but the sugars often found in wine are fructose, and that's a naturally occurring sugar within the grape itself. The acidity I'm representing here with lemons and lime, but in reality most of the acidity from wine grape is the tartaric and malic acid, but it's often experienced the same way on your palate. And examples of the importance of balance here are through other products besides wine. Lemonade, for instance, and Coca-Cola. There's a lot of acidity in both of these drinks, more than people realize. Many people are surprised to learn that there's 5 times the amount of sugar in this Coca-Cola than there is in this glass of wine. And that is because there's a lot of acidity in a Coca-Cola. The pH is lower. And it's only pleasing on your palate, just like with lemonade, if you find that perfect balance between sweetness and acidity. Acidity is sort of a thirst-quenching aspect that you expect in many beverages. But the acidity in and of itself is not pleasing on your palate. So the sweetness is that counterbalancing impact on your palate that makes the whole experience so much more enjoyable and pleasing. This balance here is very difficult to describe without talking about things such as aromas and flavors. There are many wines that people would taste and go, oh, that's sweet. And what they may be doing is confusing the fruit-forward aromatics that occur naturally within grapes, and that perception of aromatics basically makes people think it's sweet. A lot of these wines that you have here at Pello 44 and Door 44 are relatively on the dry scale, but these grapes that we grow here are very aromatic, giving you that impression of a sweetness. So again, it's not good or bad, it's whether or not it appears balanced on your palate. And that's what I try to achieve with our winemaking, is to give you the best balanced expression that gives you a sense of what these grapes taste like. Now the acidity again is a key element, not only in the pleasingness on your palate, but on the ability for the wine to age well. People are surprised to learn that the acidity of our grapes here in Wisconsin are literally twice that you're going to find in Napa, California. And acidity is what allows a wine to continue to age gracefully and develop more nuance over time. So it is really a benefit to us to have these varietals to work with in this cooler climate relative to, say, California. And that's especially important when we get to food pairing. Some of the best food pairings in the world are things such as champagne and French fries. At first blush you go, that doesn't make sense, but if you break down the science behind it, it does. The acidity in champagne is counterbalanced almost perfectly with the salt and fat contained within a French fry. And that's why you often see a lot of cheese and wine pairings. The acidity of these wines is a perfect blend with the fattiness or the saltiness of a cheese, and it serves the secondary and almost as critical a factor is the ability then for the acidity of the wine to cleanse your palate so that the food continues to remain interesting over the course of your dinner. So the food pairing potential of the wines here of Northeast Wisconsin are really unlimited. It's very exciting for a winemaker to have such an interesting aspect to express in the wines that we make. So until next time, enjoy our balanced wines and cheers.